we're going to teach you how to graft today. So David's brought his grafting machine, or not his grafting machine, a grafting machine up. For those of you who don't know us or it's your first time, this is my brother Ernie.
Hi, Ernie. Hey, Ernie.
This is David.
Hi, David.
They're both viticulturalists in Napa. David works for our family. We run a vineyard management company as well as having our family farms in the little winery. And my mom is right behind you, Sandy. My daughter is right there in the gray. My husband's hiding out from everyone in the corner in the barn. Say hi, his name's Al. So welcome. This is our 72nd spring growing grapes on the 40 acres in front of you were my grandfather's. He bought them in our grandfather in 54. So, and it's our 62nd year making or growing Cabernet Sauvignon. So anyway, thank you for supporting the small family farms.
All right, so if we can work our way back here, we'll get this thing going. Yeah, you want to grab a seat, Mom?
Sure. Gotcha. No touching the grafting machine.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're going to have to move her. Eventually, you're going to get moved out of there, but you're good for now.
I'll show you how to do it.
We're trying to simulate, a vineyard here. So we planted maybe 25 vines here in this tub. So this is a way we still we graft vines this way often. So these are rootstock right here, and been set up to get grafted now. So they're growing in here. We planted them last year. They grew for a year, and now they're ready. So what we're going to show is kind of the old world, the old style. I don't even know how many hundreds or thousands of years this process goes back in the wine industry, but this is pretty much the way vines were grafted hundreds of years ago. So the main reason that we graft vines instead of planting them, just as a Cabernet or a Chardonnay and using the own roots from those varieties is from the issue of phylloxera, right? Phylloxera hit in the turn of the century, and we had to figure out a way to plant grapes so they could survive that underground pest. So they wound up going to the American areas, I think mostly Texas, areas where phylloxera was present, but these vines figured out a way to survive, so mutated through that. And you plant that out, and then on top of that, you'll grow a variety, right? Your Cabernet, your Chardonnay on top of that. So what we have here is they're basically two vines, the underground portion and then the above ground portion.
So it's about protecting the vine, not mixing a varietal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So we use it for a lot of reasons. So one, phylloxera, yes. Two, there's other pests that we can protect against as well. But also, some of these rootstocks are really good at forging nutrients and water. So they'll go down and grow a real vigorous vine. So like on these hillside blocks, you're going to use that rootstock that's really vigorous, right? The valley floor with the heavy soils, you want to slow that vine down because we're trying to grow the same vine on the hillside as we are on the valley floor. So there's the optimum vine. The valley floor pushes too many nutrients and water to it. The hillsides are struggling, right? So you're trying to push those so we can actually control that through water and some other, viticultural practices, but also the rootstock. You can get a rootstock that is shallow rooted, that isn't going to grow super vigorous to grow on the valley floor, or you can use one that is, a real vigorous stock for the hillsides.
All right. Well, as far as field budding, the way this works is a vineyard will actually take these vines and they will plant them in the ground for a year, get them to size up a little bit. They'll send a crew out. They'll come out and they'll do what's called a chip bud. All right. They're going to do. So here is my chip bud. This is what this going to look like as I graft it. And what they'll do is they'll take this vine here and they'll give it a bit of a haircut. Out of the way.
So he's trying to match up that bud so it all matches up exactly. So you're matching up those outside the cambium layers.
Yep. So as this heals, there's a portion of the vine called the cambium, and that's going to produce something called callus tissue. I actually brought some vines that are going through that process, so you can see it later. And so what they'll do is they'll actually graft that. They'll line up the edges of those cut as best as possible. That's where the cambium exists. And they'll take vineyard tape and they will tie this all up nice and tight.
So the crews will just be going up and down a vineyard with these growing, and they'll do it in, I don't know, half a minute and on to the next one. So
These crews each one of these guys in these crews is very, very specialized. Probably one of the highest, most technical jobs in a vineyard that exists. And these guys are probably grafting about 300 to 400 vines a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So out of all this grafting, what's the percentage of success?
So for an experienced vineyard crew, it's somewhere in the 95% range.
Okay.
I come from Nova Vine Grapevine Nursery. So nursery grafting and field grafting are two very different things. So Nova Vine makes this. They don't do what I just did. Nova Vine uses that. That is a razor blade operated by pick pedal. Wow. This is why I'm the only one that's going to be touching
okay.
This is the machine that we use primarily out in the nursery. This is called an Omega Uno. All right. So essentially what they'll do is they'll take a cutting of rootstock. This is same thing as that, but this is just a branch off the plant. All right. They're going to take this vine, they're going to put a bud on top of it, and they're going to run through the whole propagation and grafting all at once, as opposed to propagating it, growing it, and then grafting it way later. They're going to do it all at the same time. A worker using this, as opposed to that, they can graft 300 to 400, maybe 500 on a good day. This crew is grafting somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 a day. All right. So the machine is very quick, very efficient. It's done.
Just connected them that fast? Whoa.
So, and I'll take these out. You guys can pass them around and play with them and get a few grafted for you guys.
Yes, it's just basically like a jigsaw.
Siri can do thousands.
Yeah. The key is being able to match up the wood, right? This piece with the right size for speed, right? So that's like too big, right? That's not a good match. They can feel it really quickly in their hands and move back and forth through that process.
They will. It's only 3,000 or 4,000 because they're taking them away.